Alright, so today I want to talk about some very specific things that and issues that you can run into while creating your maps, and that they might not seem very intuitive, or you might not really know how to fix them because, as I said, they really do not seem that obvious. And there are a bunch of them that you actually need to kind of take care of. So let's have a look at some of them and see how we can actually fix them. So probably one of them is going to be, and I know people have been running into this because they've been telling me this. So let's say you got some rock. We don't care about the shape or making it look good. It's definitely not looking good. You can see this, but we don't care about that. What we care is, let's just say we want the Atreides to have a lot of refineries because we want them to earn 1,000,000 credits per second or something like that. So we are giving them a lot of refineries. Now there's, as I said in one of the previous tutorials, there is a limit to the amount of refineries you can have for one single faction, and that limit is 10. So at this moment we have 10 refineries for the Atreides. Now we'll put this real quickly, the worm spawner, just so that we can actually run the map. Remember, you need to have a worm spawner to run any map. And we will just put a bunch of units down in case we need to move around. So if we start this right now, it's going to work. So let's do it. Go over here, test, quick launch. And you see the game works, nothing, no crash.
Yes, Commander.
However, let's say I want to add another one. I'm gonna have 11 refineries at this point. It's not even gonna let me do it. It's gonna tell me right now that I cannot do this. So you're gonna say, well, that's good, Feta, right? I mean, this program is not gonna let me save or run this map if I mess it up. Well, actually, it's gonna let you save. I'm pretty sure about that. Let's try it. It's gonna give it the error. However, it doesn't prevent you from saving the map. So you can actually perhaps either forget about this or, just save it for whatever reason and then go and play it, and it's gonna crash. So, just make sure you don't have more than 10 refineries for one single faction. But this is not enough, and this is another important part here. It's not enough to just simply prevent a faction from owning 11 refineries. Let's say I have 10 refineries. This is fine. This is not crashing for now. But let's say I want to be fancy and add a bunch of Fremen at the start of the mission. And how you do it, we have been discussing this in the previous tutorials. So timer equals 1, reinforcement, give it a coordinate, apply changes. So this is gonna drop at the start of the game. Timer equals 1, again, this is the start of the game. It's initialization logic. So test quick launch, and it's actually gonna let us play. However, there we have it. Too many deliveries, game ticks equals 1. Now, why did this happen? And I think I mentioned it in one of the previous tutorials. However, I really want to explain it again because it's very important. Whenever you see too many deliveries, it's either because you are having reinforcements that come out infinitely, or it's because you have too many drops at the same moment. Now remember, refineries, each of them is gonna get a harvester at the start of the mission. That's a drop. In the game logic, that's a drop. So that counts to the drop limit that you can have at one particular time. So you have 10 with the refineries, and then you just added for the Atreides another drop at the exact same time as those harvesters are coming in. And this is why it's crashing. And the tool is not going to tell you. There is no warning for this, because it only calculates the refineries. So again, you have to be careful with this. Usually you don't want to add so many refineries for one faction, but let's just say in case you want to add it, you have to be careful with whatever reinforcements you're giving them at the start of the game. And this is something that is gonna be important with multiple reinforcements at the same moment in time as well. So even if I had no refineries here, if I just add 11 reinforcements at the same game ticks, let's say 500, then it's gonna crash as well. So just keep that in mind. It is very important. Now, since we talked about this issue, let's actually talk about infinite reinforcement issue, which is one of the most um, common issues that people are facing when they're starting off creating their map. So let's say I want to get a million. I want to get this reinforcement, the Fremen, when I'm owning a construction yard. So let's say when I deploy an MCV that I don't have on the map. Just imagine I add an MCV there. So when I deploy that MCV, I want to get the reinforcements, right? So I hit apply changes. This looks fine, you would say. Well, Feta, I got a timer. Sorry, I forgot to update this. Not a timer, we got this. So we got building exists at Radius construction yard. So when we have the construction yard, we are gonna get this. So you might think, yeah, it's totally fine. Remember, again, I did mention this in previous tutorials. However, I want to emphasize it again. This is going to crash. Why? Look at the condition. It's gonna check every frame if the building exists. Once you deploy the construction yard, unless you sell it or it gets destroyed, this condition is always gonna be true every single frame. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna create an infinite loop of reinforcements. And they're gonna come every frame, and because of that, the limit of 10 is gonna be overridden really quickly, and you won't even realize that this has happened. So it's gonna crash with the same message in too many deliveries. So again, whenever you see that message, you have to think about just a few. There are only a few possibilities why you're getting that. This is one of them, and it's one of the most common. You forgot to add a run once flag to this event, to a reinforcement or start per delivery event. Both can cause this. Or you have done the mistake of having more than 10 reinforcements at a specific time, including the refinery drops at the start of the map. Now, however, be careful. In very rare occasions, I believe it can happen. Let's say you have 10 reinforcements at a specific game time, and you just get unlucky and deploy a refinery right at that moment, and it could crash. But this is like very, very rare. However, it's good practice not to use 10 reinforcements. Usually, you should try to avoid that. So yeah, let's look at something else, which is also something that even I didn't know when I started, and I thought it's a bug, but it's not a bug, and that is reinforcements on easy mode, because it really looks like a bug. However, it's not. So let's say I want to give the Harkonnen 2 combat tanks, 2 siege tanks, and 2 infantry units at timer equals 1. So we don't care about anything else. We just want to give them straight away. We save. Just to make this easier, we will also add a a reveal map. Again, radius 0 means it's going to reveal the whole map. We're going to add it to timer equals 1. So again, initialization, we're just going to reveal the whole map so we don't have to scout. And this way we can actually see the reinforcements here. And okay, let's close this for now. And when we test, you can launch with settings actually. So you can choose the difficulty. So you want to play on easy or something. Let's go ahead and do that. You hit launch. And the Harkonnen drop is coming. And oh, look at that. Well, where's my tanks? I only got one heavy tank, one siege tank, and one trooper. What happened? Is this a bug? No, it's not a bug. So the way reinforcements work when you're on easy, this is going to basically remove some units from the event. So you're not getting all of them, you're only getting one of each type from this list. So you have to be careful with that. Your reinforcements, whatever you set up in the mission, is not going to look like, it's not going to be the same on easy mode if you are planning to play that as well. So, you know, just be careful about this. Usually most people play on normal or hard from what I know, but there can be people playing on easy, so you just have to keep this in mind. So since we're talking about reinforcements for the AI, again, this is, by the way, this is happening for the AI. It's not gonna happen to you. Let's change this to something else. Timer equals 1. And we don't need this. We also don't need this. So just set it to timer equals 1, and let's see, are we gonna get the Fremen? We should get 3 of them, right? If this is working properly, again, check this. It's on easy launch, and you'll see we're getting 3 Fremen. This is only affecting AI. And we're getting too many deliveries because I messed something up. What is it? Well, this is timer equals 1. Oh, see, even I got it wrong. I forgot that I didn't remove refineries. So at this moment in time, I have 10 refineries and a reinforcement. So just removing 1 refinery should fix this. So you can go ahead and test it again. See, I told you this can happen to you. You just have to be careful. So this is where the Fremen will spawn, and well, guess what? We got 3 Fremen. However, these guys, they don't get all the drops. So let's check something out. Let's say we do this. If I can click properly, and then we launched it. We launch it again.
Reinforcements have arrived.
And this time we're looking at the Harkonnen. Well, what do we see? They're allied to us this time, and they get the full drops. So, any allied faction to the player faction is not affected by this behavior. They will get the full drop. And just for fun, so that we cover every single possibility, we check the neutral as well.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Again, we look at the Harkonnen because this is what interests us. They are not allied to us, so they are not getting the full drop on easy mode. Nothing else to talk about it for the subject. Just keep this in mind. If he's allied to you, he's getting everything. If he's not, either neutral or enemy, he's not getting anything at all. So let's go ahead and have a look at AI variables. So at this very moment, you might be wondering, well, let's say I want these units to attack me, right? So you would come over here and you'd be like, okay, I got them as a reinforcement, but they're not doing anything. One of the main reasons why this is happening is because they are set to guard instead of attack. So you have to put them on attack if you want them to hunt you. So you hit apply. You are probably gonna go, oh, yeah, I did it. It's on attack mode. Let's go ahead and watch it.
Reinforcements have arrived.
But you will be surprised. They're still not moving. And you're gonna say, well, Feta, what have I done wrong? It's set on attack. And yes, it's set on attack. However, it's not enough. There is no AI enabled for this faction. So you have to come over here and set this to 1. And that's literally it. You don't, if it's just a faction that only gets reinforcements and it's meant to attack you, which you definitely can do sometimes, you don't have to care about anything else. Just enable AI. Or I guess they will not attack me for some reason. Because they are neutral. Well, see, don't mess things up. Just do it the right way from the very start. Pay attention to what you're mapping, and don't do it like me. Now this time they will attack me because they are not neutral anymore. I'll just check it real quick so that you can't accuse me that I'm lying. There we go, they are coming to attack us, and they will attack the closest enemy unit. So it's not necessarily you, it could be any enemy faction.
Unit
or any
lost.
enemy unit that's
Harvester
close to them.
under
So this is how you fix that. The drops that don't work. I know a lot of people have had problems with that as well. Now there's one little trick that you need to pay attention to if you want some consistency in your AI attacks, and that is the morale. If I can find it. Or actually, I think we should handle this differently. So remember last tutorial I told you that the default values over here when you create a new mission are not the best. Now you can go ahead and change some of these to make it decent. For example, there are a few things you really have to change, like the guard group size. Usually this is way too much. You can put it like around 400 or 500, let's say. You might also want to change these because they are very low. They will attack very often, and they will attack with almost nothing because their attack building strength is just 15. And since we're here, let's talk about the difference between protect and defend, and also guard group size. So guard group size is what they will look at when they decide how many units they should have patrolling around the base. So you know, whenever the AI moves around with units in their base, this is the behavior that's related to that. And this is not 500 doesn't mean they get 500 units. It's just like a value for strength, and strength is calculated based on the HP of the units, from what I know. I know that's how it works for defense areas. I'm pretty sure this is how it works for guard group size as well. But there's no easy way to tell what this number really means. So just go ahead, in my opinion, just try to experiment with it, because it's much easier that way. You can't really tell what this means and there's no way around it. You just have to kind of like get used to them. But I'll tell you, 800 is quite a lot. Anything over 800 is a lot. 500 is pretty balanced, and 200 is very light defenses, so they will not save a lot of stuff to defend their base. Now DefendStrength, you might say, well, what's the difference between these two? DefendStrength is used when you attack their buildings. So when you attack their buildings directly, they respond with forces from that they have assignated to the defense. Guard group size is whenever you enter their perimeter, their base perimeter, that's when they will trigger this, and they will use the guard group size allocated units to engage you. So since we talked about this, let's talk about what a base radius is. So again, let's consider the Atreides is AI right here. Let me see, how can I showcase this? I guess I'll use the select mode. So they have these are the buildings they have. The base radius, so the territory that the AI considers to be owned by him, is going to be top left corner of the building. And then the bottom right most building. And it's like this. This is the radius. You have to be careful. So again, this is the radius that they will actively try to defend. If you step in this rectangle with any enemy unit, the guard group size gets triggered. Now it could also be like it could have some offsets, so might not necessarily be this, or might be like this. It depends on your settings in the AI file. However, the most important part here is to understand how this works. So if I put a building over here, then his radius is gonna look like this. See, this is already a big improvement. The base might not look much larger, but their radius is crazy high. So one thing a lot of people do not do properly is they do stuff like this, and they give buildings owned by the exact same faction down here. And what this does is they will not just sit like, they won't keep a few units here and a few units here. What they will do is, because this is how their radius looks like, they will patrol with units in this entire zone, and they're gonna move over the sand, they're gonna move everywhere. Keep this in mind. The base radius is important. Try to make your try to place the AI buildings in a good way so that they don't do things like this, because you really don't want them patrolling around the sand usually. That just doesn't look right. Okay, so going back to the AI file, let's say, so we were talking about, I forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about the default values, and I was telling you that they are not completely okay. Now, you can, as I said, you can go ahead and change them by yourself, but I really recommend using the already defined templates. And you can get them from the Discord server. Just join the Discord and they will be there. You can ask me as well if you want, since I obviously cannot you cannot download them straight from this video. And I'm not sure if they are on the forum, but you need these to make your life much easier. So they're labeled pre-okay. Let's say this Harkonnen AI, let's say we want him to be a practice generic guy because we want him to build a base, and we will see soon why. So I'll just open this, and you have a lot of values already set up for you that are pretty important, especially things like the where is it, unit build priorities. You don't have stuff like carryalls, ornithopters, and def hands and stuff like that. Those have to be on 0, otherwise it's not going to work properly. So apparently these don't really matter, and as long as you cannot build it in the tree, like in the sidebar, it's not gonna matter. So that's why def hands do matter, because you can build them in the, like, you don't really build them, but they are a super weapon. You get them on the sidebar. So again, just use your AI files, the templates. You have templates for pretty much everything. This template specifically allows the AI to build a base. Now, you might say, well, maybe I don't want to use this template, but how do I do this thing with where the AI builds a base? It's pretty simple. You come over here, enable practice. Usually it's on 0. You want him to build a base, you put this on 1. That's it. He's going to build a base. Now, how and what build order he's using is determined by these. The build ratio, these are priorities for each building. And the maximum buildings for each type are here. We're not going to go into details about this because it's pretty complicated. Finding out these numbers is not easy. But that's why you have the templates. The templates are pretty fine. You can play around with them if you want to. Trust me, use the templates. It's much easier. Let me go back up here. So, you know, this is one thing that a lot of people will want to do probably at some point, but they will fail at doing. And trust me, this is going to happen. And that is to have an AI join late. What does this even mean? It means that I want this reinforcement event to be something else. So I'm going to clear this, and I'm just going to give him an MCV. And instead of timer equals 1, I will just duplicate this, and I will put it to 150. So what this means is after 150 game ticks, the Harkonnen will get an MCV, and we will expect them to build a base late. So they don't start out with a base, they don't start out with anything. They will get an MCV, and we will be expecting them to build a base. But it's not going to happen. Make sure you put it on guard or not attack, because that doesn't make sense for the MCV. We hit apply changes, and we go ahead and have a look at this, and we'll see what happens. We did set the AI value to build a base. So enable practice is set to 1, so he should build a base.
Let's go. Trim and ready.
He's going to try to find a suitable location to deploy. But, oh wow, what happened? He sold it, and now he's going to attack us. This is going to happen to a lot of people, and you have to know how to fix it. First of all, let me put this a bit higher so that he doesn't have to move it. This is something that's caused by the AI logic. So if you enable practice, he's gonna use the skirmish logic, in which he will always sell and go hunt mode if he doesn't have any production structures. And because he doesn't have any production structures at the start of the mission, at timer equals 1, he will just simply he's just gonna simply go in that logic, in that berserk logic, and just sell everything. So you can prevent this pretty easily. So let me show you how. It's really that simple. Come over here. Get this. Just get a bunch of cliffs and make sure you close this. If I can find a piece. This is not the right piece. Just create a small enclosing thing over here. And then you go to the Harkonnen and you give them an MCV up here. Now, again, if you want this to be immersive, you should be blocking this path. So nobody should be able to get to this. And you can use cliffs to block it. Just for a very quick, just because we're, you know, it's a video and we don't want to waste time. I blocked it. Very ugly, but it works. You cannot get to this place with any ground units, and obviously you cannot control carriers, at least not in this version of the game. It's probably coming in the future, by the way, but for now you cannot control carriers, so there's no way you will be able to get to this place. So we will never know there's an MCV there. So you come over here, and actually you don't have to do anything else right now. He's just simply going to deploy and build this time. He's not gonna sell anything, so let's watch that.
Reinforcements have arrived.
And there comes the Harkonnen MCV. It's coming late. And he's just going to deploy. And he's already starting building concrete. And he placed it really badly. But that's the AI, what can you do about it? And he's gonna start building, putting down his stuff from the build order. And, you know, he's gonna start producing units and all that stuff. So again, this is how you do late joins on AI, and on base building AIs in this game. You have to be careful with this. A lot of people don't know how to do it, and it's a bit tricky. Now there's something else that's a little bit tricky, and you might not know why this is happening, and that is, let's say I have a bunch of walls here. Now sometimes you know this from original missions. The AI will just simply start attacking walls. Let's say you don't want that because it kind of looks stupid. So if you want to prevent that, don't worry, I got you. Just come down here and check the attack building priorities, and you look for the walls. There are a lot of them in this list, so take your time. So there you have it. Trades, Harkonnen, and Ordos walls. That's why I keep telling you, use the AI templates. It's already set to 0. So a lot of helpful things are already prepared for you. But by default, this is going to be 1. So you just put this to 0 and they are not going to attack the walls. Now beware, this can be exploited by human players because they can wall off and the AI will not attack the walls anymore. But generally, it's always a better idea to do it. Now, there's something else about, you know, like, you have to be careful with the walls. As I told you, there can be some exploits like that, where you just wall off your base and then the AI cannot attack, or will not attack the walls, and some funky stuff can happen. But if you don't do it and the AI starts attacking walls, it might not function as you want it. And it happens a lot of times, actually. It happened in some of my older campaigns as well. When I did not set that, it was really doing bad things, was going attacking walls, even though there was still a huge ass base next to them they could have attacked. So for now, I believe this is enough. I'm trying not to make this video as long as the other ones have been. So we might come back with more stuff like this, like frequently met issues. But for now, this is enough. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope this was helpful. And good luck with your maps. Maybe we can see some new maps coming from some of you. That would be really nice. So until next time, see ya.